Okay, so what's my dream tonight? It looks like a group of us. They were gathered together in front of me as a kind of photo taking. So I was taking photo of a group, and they were all smiling towards me, towards the camera, I guess. There were voices all over. I can hear them all around me. But then suddenly I woke up, and at that moment when I woke up, there was a distinct silence. This thought that comes into my mind upon waking up. Why the silence? There were voices just a while ago while I am in the dream. But then suddenly there were no more voices. The picture I can remember, but the voices, where are they? So how should I interpret this dream? See, even after I woke up, there were images very strong in my mind. Images that come from the dream. But how about the sound? Though they don't appear to pass through into the waking state. That's the reason why it is harder for us to distinguish an idol from the true awareness of the waking state. Images or idols that we create in our mind remains with us even while we are in the silence. But when it comes to the hearing, mysteriously, when we enter within, sound of the world, the sound of the pictures that we hear in our mind ceases as we get into the inner place. But what remains is only our breath. We hear only the sound of our soul, the sound of our breathing of the words, but we don't really hear the sound from the pictures that are around us. So is this what the dream is saying to me? Is this the message of the dream? Perhaps it is so. You see, I was asking myself a question. Why did God command Israel with the words, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one"? Now, why is God asking Israel to hear rather than to see? To hear rather than to know? It is natural on our part that we should know that the Lord our God, the Lord is one. That's how we know. But somehow intellectually, this kind of knowing is an image, and it interferes our soul knowing. It interferes with the true awareness. But when it comes to hearing, if you just simply hear the Lord our God, the Lord is one, the sound of the images of these words do not persist as we go inside ourselves. Instead, what persisted is only the breath. What breath? It is the breath of the words of that sound that persisted. That sound no longer is heard, but the breath is still going on in our heart. And when we hear the breath of the Lord our God, we begin to notice that the Lord is one. Is that what the dream is telling me? You see, friends, I have been meditating for a long time. And my way of meditation is to observe my own thoughts. So, as the thoughts pass through in my mind, I would observe the thoughts. The thoughts will be like as though it is from another source. And these thoughts are like pictures. These thoughts are images, and I follow them. But following my thoughts, like as though they were images, appears to be insufficient to bring me to a state of true awareness. But somewhere 7 years ago, as I followed these thoughts, something different took place. Instead of following these thoughts, I began to hear the thoughts. Now look at the difference. Instead of seeing the thoughts, I hear the thoughts. I don't know how I did it, but because the meditation went on for 25 years, for a long, long time, for some reason or another, I am not sure why, but suddenly, maybe perhaps I began to be more attuned to it. I began to hear the thoughts rather than just merely see the thoughts. And when I hear the thoughts, somehow a strong sense of breathing takes place. A strong sense of breath began to appear in me. I wondered where the breath came from. This breath strongly passes through me. And it's no longer just thoughts, but breath. And this is how my world changed. It didn't start there immediately, but as I continue to do this kind of breath work, where observation of thoughts has now become breath, as I continue to do that, I notice, in a very slow way, I notice that the world I am seeing, that everything that I am looking at is also breathing. And they are not just breathing, but they are breathing in tandem with me. And this is how I realize that I live in a world of one. God commands his people to hear that the Lord our God, the Lord is one. God wanted us to experience directly this oneness of the Lord, this oneness of all that we are living in, to experience this oneness directly and firsthand, not just as a thought, not as an idea that we learn, but as a direct experience. And why is that necessary? Because only in that experience of oneness is there such thing called love. For love is one, and without its awareness of oneness, we cannot truly love God. Neither can God love me. So before I end this video, I want to emphasize that the day when I began to hear my thoughts, instead of just merely seeing my thoughts, the whole worldview began to change. Because when I hear my thoughts, I began to discover this breath. Now what happened was extraordinary in my opinion. For a sudden moment I felt that there's a deepening of myself, a deepening of my own presence. In that moment I felt that my body and all that I think that I am isn't me at all. The presence which I felt inside is awesome. It's the very soul of me itself. And what is so mysteriously strange about the whole phenomena is that I felt that this I am presence, is also the presence of divinity, is also the presence of God. And the whole connection to everything in the universe is the four breath. What is the problem with all of us is that we connect with our friend by looking. We connect with the things of the world by looking at the things of the world. We forget to hear the things of the world. We forget to hear the breath of another man. If we can only hear this breath, we can discover presence and we can become one in all that is today. So why breath? Why am I emphasizing breath? The breath of a thing is its soul. So when I connect with the breath of the thing, I connect with the soul of it. Now let's go to science. How does the radio receive messages from a broadcasting station? Well, it is because the radio is vibrating at the same frequency as the broadcasting station. By breathing at the same rate, the radio becomes one with the broadcasting station. Now remember, when God commands Israel to conquer Jericho, what did God say? God said you should make a screeching sound so loud that the walls of Jericho will vibrate and resonate with yours, right? And the walls of Jericho will fall. In the words of science, it's called resonance. We need to discover how to vibrate, how we can personally hear instead of see, how we can hear so that we can hear the vibration, so to speak, to hear the breath, so that in our breath and in the breath of the what we hear, we become one with whatever that is. The soul of everything is in its breath. That's why I urge everyone, every person who reads my video, begin to discover how you can hear your thoughts, not see your thoughts, but hear your thoughts. Begin to understand how you can not just see the world, but hear the world, so that you connect with divinity through the breath. For that is where the soul is.